Hello everyone! Based on the current storyline of Beyond the Gates, Hayley is entering an intensely pressured phase as Lynette uses the past to threaten her. And now Leslie is also holding a secret that is pushing Hayley into panic. So what secret has Leslie uncovered that could shake Hayley this deeply? Is it connected to Lynette, to Randy, or to a dark past that belongs to Hayley alone? Let's take a deeper look. There are moments in a marriage when betrayal does not begin with a kiss, a scam, or money disappearing. It begins with a look, a stare that lingers too long in empty space, a blink that comes a little slower than usual when a certain name is mentioned, a breath that falls out of rhythm when the door opens and the person stepping inside is someone who knows far too much. Hayley is living in exactly that kind of moment now, when her life is no longer threatened by one single secret, but by several secrets tearing at each other, all demanding to rise to the surface. Demanding to be named, demanding to shatter the carefully crafted shell she has built around Bill. What makes this situation so terrifying is not simply that Lynette is blackmailing Hayley, but that Hayley clearly understands Lynette is not even the most dangerous person in this game. The more frightening figure is Leslie, because Leslie does not only know how to destroy a woman. Leslie knows how to make her victim destroy herself before the final push ever comes. Lynette is the kind of threat that is easier to identify. She appears like a disaster with a clear shape, crude, greedy, aggressive, and opportunistic. Lynette has seen the cracks between Hayley and Bill. She has seen the murky connection between Hayley and Randy. She has noticed too many wrong signals in the stories Hayley keeps trying to tell in the same careful way. The moment Lynette realized she had stepped too close to a scheme, she did not retreat in fear. She lunged toward it like someone determined to claim her share. She is the kind of person who always believes that if a light already exists, then she has every right to turn it into her own path to profit. That is why Hayley being suffocated by Lynette is not just about being cornered. It is also about Lynette understanding one brutal truth. The most successful liar is not the one who creates the perfect story, but the one who realizes the person standing in front of them is too terrified of the truth to fight back. But Leslie is different. Leslie does not need money in the way Lynette does. Leslie does not want a small slice of the cake. Leslie enjoys the feeling of standing over the ashes of someone else's life and watching them realize that what destroyed them was not only the truth, but the fact that they once believed they were clever enough to hide it forever. That is why Leslie's appearance at the exact moment Hayley is already being driven into her final corner by Lynette feels so horrifying. It creates the sense that one storm has not even passed before another one appears on the horizon, darker, colder, and more dangerous. What sends Hayley into panic is not necessarily what Leslie says, but the fact that Leslie hardly has to say much at all. The moment she appears with that familiar calm expression, Hayley already understands that something has slipped beyond her control. The secret Leslie may be holding is likely far more serious than Lynette's blackmail alone. If that were all, Hayley could still try to maneuver her way through it. She could still negotiate. She could still invent another story to reduce the damage. What makes Hayley's fear feel more primal is the possibility that Leslie has traced the problem to a deeper layer where Randy is no longer a side figure, but the central link. Randy may not simply be a trusted accomplice or convenient ally. In many ways, he may be living proof that Hayley has never been as innocent as the image she has tried to preserve in front of Bill. The bond between Hayley and Randy may not rest only on a few secret meetings or improvised plans. It may be a long-term alliance of mutual benefit, a level of collusion so deeply rooted that neither of them can clearly distinguish self-preservation from deliberate deception anymore. If Leslie truly possesses a video, its power would not lie in the image alone, but in the context. A video of Hayley and Randy would not simply expose that they met in secret. It could reveal the real tone in Hayley's voice when she talks about Bill. It could capture the coldness, the calculation, the lack of sincerity that Hayley has never allowed to surface inside the home where she continues to play the role of a wife in need of protection. A video like that, if it exists, would not only hurt Bill, it would humiliate him. Pain can sometimes be forgiven in a moment of weakness, but the feeling of being reduced to a tool, treated like a living wallet, manipulated through tears and sweet words, that strikes at the deepest part of Bill's pride. That is exactly why Leslie is more dangerous than Lynette. Lynette would use the secret to extort money, force compliance, and insert herself into the situation. Leslie could use the same secret to release it at the perfect time, in the perfect place, under the exact gaze that needs to witness it. She understands that if she truly wants to destroy Hayley, nothing would be more effective than making Bill see his wife's true face with his own eyes. Not hearing about it, not listening to rumors, but seeing it. In the world of wealthy families and marriages built half on emotion and half on power, humiliation is often more devastating than betrayal itself. Leslie understands that with the instinct of someone who has lived long enough among people who survive only by wearing masks. Hayley is therefore trapped between two very different forms of attack. On one side there is Lynette, who can send a new demand every day, a new threat, a new reminder that every crack in Hayley's life is being watched. On the other side there is Leslie, who does not need daily pressure because she has the power to shake Hayley's entire future with a single move. That double pressure is not merely making Hayley anxious. It is beginning to fracture the very structure of her mind. And that may be the most alarming part of all. Because before a conspiracy collapses in real life, it usually collapses first inside the mind of the person controlling it. They begin to forget what lie they told to whom. They react too quickly to innocent questions. They become angry at the wrong time, afraid of the wrong person, and end up exposing themselves through the very effort to keep everything hidden. Bill may not know the whole truth yet, but a man like Bill does not need every piece of the puzzle to smell deception. What he lacks is not instinct, but evidence sharp enough to cut through Hayley's excuses. And when a man starts asking hard questions of the woman beside him, that marriage has already entered its most dangerous stage. Hayley may still be able to sway Bill through weakness, tears, and by framing herself as a victim of Lynette or of misunderstandings surrounding Randy. But the more she tries to use emotion to keep Bill close, the more she puts herself at greater risk. Because once Bill realizes those tears were staged, his rejection will no longer be a burst of temporary anger. It will feel like a sentence. Randy, at this point, seems like the quiet figure in the background, yet he may become the first true explosion point. A man like Randy is useful, as long as everything remains under control, as long as silence can still be bought, and loyalty can still be maintained through shared advantage. But when the walls start closing in, the loyalty of someone like him is always the first thing placed on the scale. Randy may protect Hayley for as long as he believes secrecy is his only path to survival. But if Joey increases the pressure, if Lynette loses control, and if Leslie truly has hard evidence, Randy will start recalculating. And the most frightening possibility for Hayley is not that Randy betrays her out of resentment, but out of fear. A panic trader is often more dangerous than a calculated one because he says more than he has to, hands over more than he is forced to, and sometimes drags other hidden secrets into the light before anyone has even thought to ask about them. In that larger picture, Leslie seems to recognize not only Hayley's weakening position, but an even harsher truth. Hayley has been living through so many overlapping performances that she may no longer remember where her real self ends and the roles begin. That is where Leslie holds the absolute advantage. A manipulator always recognizes another manipulator. Leslie understands Hayley so easily not only because she is clever, but perhaps because she sees in Hayley a younger, more desperate, less disciplined version of herself. That is why Leslie's warning will not merely feel like a threat, it will feel like a judgment. A cold message that Hayley has stepped into a game far beyond what she is emotionally capable of surviving. Hayley now stands before two paths, and both are dangerous. Confessing to Bill could strip some of Lynette and Leslie's power away, But that confession would matter only if it comes before Bill sees proof from someone else. A confession after a video surfaces would no longer be honesty, it would be surrender. On the other hand, if Hayley chooses to build an even bigger lie, she might buy herself more time. She might temporarily redirect suspicion toward Lynette, toward Randy, or even toward Leslie. But the larger the lie becomes, the harder the fall will be. It will also demand that she become crueler, riskier, and more willing to sacrifice other people to save herself. And that is where this story could turn much darker. Hayley may no longer stop at lying, she may actively create a scapegoat. If that happens, Bill will not simply be the next victim of the truth. He could become the direct target of Hayley's desperation. A woman driven to the edge no longer behaves like someone trying to save her marriage. She behaves like someone trying to save her social life. Reputation, status, money, and the soft power attached to Bill's name have all become part of the identity Hayley clings to. Once she feels those things slipping away, she may do what she once believed she never could. She may completely twist the truth, isolate Bill, make him believe everyone is hunting them, and then use that very paranoia to keep him at her side just a little longer. The tragedy of Hayley is that she may still convince herself that everything she is doing is simply a matter of survival. But survival at what cost is the real question. Some people, when cornered, confess in order to atone. Others only become more skilled at destruction. Hayley seems to be standing right on that line, where the fear of being unmasked is becoming stronger than the small piece of conscience she still has left. And once fear takes control, people rarely choose what is right. They choose whatever allows them to endure one more day. So the most compelling thing to watch is not only what Leslie knows, or whether the video truly exists, but the moment Bill stops asking questions and starts making conclusions. The instant that man no longer seeks answers from Hayley will be the instant he has already prepared himself to believe the worst. From that point on, every effort Hayley makes to save the relationship will no longer be about protecting a marriage. It will only be about delaying judgment. Leslie may be the one striking the match, Lynette may be the one tightening the rope, Randy may be the first link to break apart. But the person who will ultimately decide what Hayley has left in the end is still Bill. Because the truth in this story is not only about what Hayley has hidden. The deeper truth is that she has underestimated the cost of turning trust into a weapon. And once that trust turns around and bites back, it will leave her no escape except to watch the entire world she built collapse in front of her eyes. This framework fits very closely with the current rhythm of the storyline. Lynette has already realized Hayley and Randy have been deceiving Bill and is using that knowledge to blackmail her. Bill has begun questioning Hayley directly. Leslie is preparing for a confrontation of her own with Hayley, and Joey is becoming increasingly suspicious of the connection between Randy, Lynette, and Hayley. Because of that, the most logical direction for the story is that Hayley will soon be forced to choose between a partial confession and sinking even deeper into a larger lie. And either choice could cost her Bill, her control, and perhaps even what is left of her from the inside out. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my video, and thank you for your trust. Everything I share here is only personal speculation and my own perspective. If you found this video interesting or helpful, please support me with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you have even better ideas or more interesting theories, feel free to share them below so everyone can discuss together. I truly appreciate every contribution and every bit of support. Thank you very much. And if you have not subscribed to us yet, please scroll down and hit the subscribe button.